Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age TV. No, come on, stay here, pups. Come on, let's go over here. Come on, no. Yeah, it's the dog barking, dog walking. No, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on. So no, Willow, come on. There we go. There they go. Hey, how about that for adventure in the morning, right? Dogs are chasing the dogs. Yeah, just doesn't end. Wow. It is so windy out here. Itty. Woo! The nor'easter is north of us, but boy, oh boy, it's cold. And as usual, we'll go chase the dogs. Hey, the love of having dogs. Come on, pups, come on back. Hey, Ginger! And almighty, it just doesn't end. It doesn't end in the adventures. Anyways, good morning, Sarah, for all the craziness here on the Ice Age TV YouTube channel. But isn't it crazy? Living crazy times, I'll tell you that much. Wow, all right, let's get here to the car, to the truck. I plugged this thing in like 7 o'clock. So it finally charged 7 o'clock last night. All right, I'm closing the barn doors today because it's just too windy. And wow, to say the least. So what is the word of the day? Wow. I mean, just wow. Nobody ever bought a car and you just been like, wow? I mean, have you ever, I'm watching my barn doors here. They going, and wow. You see this wind is so hard, those big doors. Yeah, imagine if I didn't have slots in them. It's like a wall. It'd be ripped off the fracking, whatever. All right, let's go. Let's get in the office. Let's get the day going. And is that the wow? The wow cars right here, the Hellcats? Yeah, for sure. Come on, let's go. Come on, get there. Yeah, so anyways, just thought this morning, what do we talk about today on the morning conversations? And share my ideas and views and thoughts, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the morning going with the wow factor. I didn't even think of this idea until I was in the shower this morning, just to think, what is the conversation today, right? Oh boy, chasing the dogs. Wow, yeah. I mean, it's cold. And that wind. This is the time of year where we're so close to having spring, but we're not. And it's such a bummer because there's so many projects you want to do outside, like today. To do any projects outside, yeah, right. To wash the car, to take on, outside. Everybody knows, forget that. All right, get my computer going here so I can see what's going on in the world to talk to you. And so anyways, wow. I thought to myself, in my lifetime of buying all my cars, and people even ask me, what's your all-time favorite car? And for me, it's just hard to answer that because I had so many cars. I just have owned so many cars. And usually that wow factor gets me to buy the car. I'm sure most people here watching my channel are no different. You go test drive a car, and keep in mind, it's classic. Hey, do you want to drive the car? I mean, the car salesman knows you're a car dealership. If you drive the car, you're that much closer to either buying it or walking away. I mean, that kind of right there kind of cuts to the chase. If you're a car salesperson, I'm sure they're like, yeah, you got to get the person out of that car, because if that car radiates and they connect that car, they're going to try to buy that car. If it doesn't, and I've had that experience, you guys have had that experience, that you go drive something, you're like, yeah, it's nothing that I thought it was going to be. Yeah, who hasn't had that experience? Total letdown. You think you're getting something, but it's not what you thought you got. Hey, am I talking about electric vehicles? Wow. Interesting, right? Wow. The wow and the yikes factor on that YouTube Ice Age TV morning. Haven't even had my coffee. So, yeah, I slept in. I mean, I wake up like at 2 in the morning. I start reading things, and I look at my clock. It's like 5 o'clock, 5:30. This morning, I didn't wait. Well, I woke up this morning about 4 o'clock, and then I looked at my clock. It was like 6:30. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, just gathering information and seeing what's going on in the world, and and trying to see if you can read the truth, which that's so challenging now to read information and to really think you're reading the facts. It's beyond believable. But hey, let me get the Chat GPT, the generative pre-trained transformer. Let's do that, right? Let me go to that technology, and let's see if that thing, excuse me, gives me the information I want, right? That's scary. Wow, that coffee's really, really hot. Ooh. So, anyways, the car addictions. That's my life. The car addictions, and so this morning we're gonna keep the car channel theme, but we're gonna lead into the SVB thing. I mean, it's beyond believable what we were witnessing right now. The government is allowing to happen. I mean, it's just beyond believable. And I'll share with you the view I have on what's going on. I think to myself, what would Rush Limbaugh be saying these days? I was never a Rush Limbaugh huge follower and fan per se of him, but at the same time, the guy had the EIB network, and he was so well known, and he was such an in-depth personality talker. But I just think to myself, wow. beyond wow. I mean, I don't think the average person really stops to think about what we just witnessed yesterday. I think the average person hasn't really figured out what's going on. I really mean that. And I'm not here to come across as some arrogant SOB guy. In fact, I'd love to hear other people's views of what I'm going to tell you a little bit later, what just is beyond believable of what's going on. And I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but all right. So anyways, from the car side, one of the biggest wow factors in my life was the reveal of the Dodge Challenger. No, Hellcat. Stop it. The Dodge Challenger Hellcat was the biggest wow in my lifetime, because when I grew up back in the 70s, I was just a kid, and in the 80s, I was, on my way to my career and getting going in life. Back in the 70s, I always wanted like a 70 Hemi Cuda. I always just loved the look of the Cuda. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Challenger. I liked the Plymouth Barracuda, the 70 and on, not the 60s. I was never a fan of the fastback and the Barracuda that was competing with the Ford Mustang and Camaro to a degree. They continued on, and that design, body lines. But anyways, so when I saw in the summer of 2014 that you could order a brand new car called a Dodge Challenger with 707 horsepower, I was like, wow. I was like, that's insane. Because back in the 80s, when I had my Plymouth Cuda and I had my Dodge Challenger, and you tried to do work on those things and try to get some power out of them, if you had 300 horsepower back in that day, keep in mind, I didn't make any money. I didn't need money. So, just have maybe a 350 horsepower, maybe 400 horsepower, but for it to be able to run, it wasn't a gas hog. I mean, just so that was a wow accomplishment back in that time. If you could really have a nice car that you took in the 80s from the 70s, and you were able to kind of, up the power in it and get a good ride out of it and make it a nice vehicle, and not, without having to have deep pockets. So I can still remember the last Dodge Challenger I owned that was just never-ending problems of electrical issues. I rebuilt the suspension, transmission issues. I put exhaust on it. The interior dashboard caught on fire one day from the windshield wiper circuit, catching on fire. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I just remember when I got rid of that car, I was like, well, just hopefully one day I can just buy a car that's already just really nice and powerful, and I'll have the income just to buy one right off the showroom floor. But never thinking 700 horsepower. For me, I would have told you back then, if they make like a 300 horsepower car, that would be incredible. You go back to the early 80s, the 150 horsepower, 180 horsepower car, that was kind of the norm. To have a 300 horsepower factory car, yeah, wow. I mean, you go to the 90s, to have a 400 horsepower car was record breaking. When the Corvette Z06 went to like the 500 horsepower mark, when the Dodge Viper, nope, stop it. Dodge Viper went to the 500 horsepower. That was insane numbers. No. So it's interesting. Dog's not barking at anybody here. Scout, what are you doing, dude? He's just not happy because somebody took his seat. So, anyways, those were like wow factors. When I heard about the Z06, I'm trying to even remember the freaking numbers. I mean, but the whole point is, for me, the biggest wow factor in my life that I can relate with of watching the Dodge Challenger reveal, that was a huge wow. And then for me, having to wait for it forever to get the dang thing, it took me from the summer 2014 to the fall of, I guess, November of 2015 before I got the car, the plum crazy car. And then when I got that car and I drove it around, yeah, the wow factor was even more, as that car would just bust loose. You're doing like 50, 60 miles an hour down the road, and you just nail it, and that back end would come out from behind you. I mean, it was freaky. Yeah, there's sometimes I even think I'm so lucky I didn't total that car. I'll never forget, I passed a car on this Route 15 here where I live, and as I was going around the car and I blasted around him, the car busted loose on a 2-lane road, and it wasn't anything where it was oncoming traffic issue. It was the car busted loose, and oh my gosh, that car had gotten just a little too sideways, and I'd gone off the road. It would be a devastating accident. It would be a radical thing, and it'd be a reckless driving. So that car was definitely, like, for me, like, wow. I'd get home and be like, I can't believe I made it home without just crashing. Even that GT500, yeah, take it up another notch. The GT500, comes out with the 760 horsepower. And that car is just it's a whole different type of feel from that GT500 to the Hellcat. It's really interesting. The high speeds, those cars really have kind of the same personality. When you just kind of nail it, and kind of the inertia you feel at the higher speeds. It's really, you need to be at that like 20, 30 mile an hour roll to really get more of that inertia and that really kick in the pants. You're doing like 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour, and you just nail it. Yes, the car definitely, gears down, but it's not the same. And the danger for me is I've been riding around these 700 horsepower cars now, where it's just not like the wow factor that I feel like it did back in 2015 and 2015, 2016, when I first started getting the opportunity to drive 700 horsepower cars. So then, but the GT500, I mean, that thing there, what the biggest challenge that car has been is that back end. See, it's a shorter wheelbase. The reason Mustangs crash all the time is because they're shorter wheelbase. And so it's so much easier to get that thing sideways. And then people don't realize the traction control is turned off on that car. And that's when it's over. Just like the Dodge Challenger, when you go to the sport mode, the track mode, custom mode, if you don't remember to turn that traction control back on after you've done that, that car is going to go sideways on you. And we've seen so many videos of the Challengers totaled and people crashing them, and the list goes on and on and on. And same thing with the Mustang. If you don't have the traction control, but then here's the other whole challenge that came to be with my GT500 is my Hellcats. I always bought them with the all-season tires, which those things suck. But in the colder environment, they definitely hold the road better than they do summer tires, because summer tires just aren't really great in 40-degree weather. And I've driven the Mustang in, a 48-degree day, 45-degree day, and they recommend you don't drive summer performance tires really below 40 degrees because it's just too hard a compound. It's like plastic. To me, it's just a hard plastic. So anyways, so that Mustang, the biggest thing I've noticed with the Ford Mustang GT500 is in cooler months, that thing busts loose. And one day, I swear, I just put that thing sideways in the Beltway. I was just coming off the on-ramp to get on the Beltway, and I got into it, and oh my gosh, that car went sideways. Yeah. And I mean, I just about clipped a guy that was, that I was going by sideways. Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, that was a wow factor. And then
Even coming back in later in the back roads, I kind of got into it again, and that damn thing just about went off the road. It's because those damn tires. It's just you just can't drive that car, and that's why I tell people when I go to these car meets, and I even talk on my YouTube channel is if you got these summer performance tires, they don't want you driving these cars in a colder environment because they know what's going to happen. You're going to get your fun time in the back roads, and you're going to get into it, and you're going to be into it all right. You're going to be into the woods, the trees, if you're driving, because the tires are too hard. They can't connect to the road. I mean, I don't think there's anything that some of you here wouldn't know. I mean, hello. But that's the wow factor. So for me, if anybody ever said to me, what's the biggest wow factor of any car you ever owned? It's the Dodge Challenger Hellcat. And then the GT500. And if I want to go before the Dodge Challenger Hellcat, it would be the Dodge Viper truck. So that was another vehicle, but it's a truck. So it's a different type of, it's just a different feel. Just like that Shelby Super Snake truck I had. That truck was just a dog. These big trucks. And that's why the Ram TRX, I think the Ram TRX is a cool truck and everything. But I'm just a guy that's been riding around in these high performance cars. And what happens is, you just don't get that same effect. And so, right, I'm not here mocking the TRX. It's for me the wow factor. I just can't get the wow factor out of the truck. Yeah, the Lightning, believe it or not, gives me more of a wow factor than TRX does. And somebody's like, oh my God, it's an electric vehicle. Yeah, but an electric vehicle is a vehicle that that thing pins you back. Yeah, you don't get the exhaust note unless I want to put a subwoofer in the back with a tailpipe and all these fake noises, which oh my gosh, the wow factor. So the Viper truck that I owned back in 2004, I got one of the first ones in this area out of Waldorf Dodge in Waldorf, Maryland. And my dad was driving it home because he rode with me down there to go buy it. And back in 2004, these things were just hitting the market. And I bought it, and my dad drove it home. You can believe it or not, think about it. Why didn't I drive it home? And oh my gosh, my dad just about crashed it. He was just about in a major crash, bringing the car home, coming through an intersection where a guy pulled out in front of him. And wow, you hear these stories all the time. I saw my daughter when you're driving that Challenger back home they bought a few weeks ago, the Smoke Show. I was just telling her, you go there, we picked that car up on a rainy afternoon, borderline freezing rain. It has this, the all-season Cooper tires on it, but I was just telling her, I said, this is how it plays out. People go out and buy these nice cars, and they take them home on a lousy day, or not even that, they're another car, and they go get their derelict, duties in order, and bing, bam, done. It's sitting aside of the road, totaled. Yeah, who doesn't know these stories, right? So I've even heard stories about motorcyclists. You go buy a motorcycle, and a guy crashes and he kills himself with his motorcycle. Here's a really sad story that I read on the motorcycle forum years ago. Is a mother and father went to the motorcycle dealership with their son to buy a motorcycle, and literally the kid takes ownership of the motorcycle, and he drives the bike outside the dealership onto the major highway, and he I guess he's confused. He doesn't stop the motorcycle. He drives right into onto a major, 55, 60 mile an hour road, and some truck just obliterates him because he didn't stop the motorcycle. He just literally, rides out of the parking lot, and he I guess he's confused. He doesn't know how to stop the motorcycle. He didn't know the controls of the bike. It sounds stupid, but what else would he have done? Why would he just driven out into major highway into traffic and get run over? Yeah, wow. The wow factor. So now, you look at the industry. Volkswagen Automotive Group, the CEO just announced that they're going to invest like $132 billion into infrastructure here in between Canada and the U.S. They're going to build a brand new mega battery plant in Canada. They're going to build a brand new manufacturing plant in South Carolina for the new Scout. Volkswagen has the rights to the good old International Harvester Scout vehicle. If anybody remembers those things, I always wanted one of those things, but they were such a tank. Those things are just so big and bulky. It was International, which I just didn't trust those things back then. And they were expensive. But yes, Volkswagen officially is bringing the Scout product line back to this country, and they're building a factory as we speak, I guess, to start the manufacturing here in the next year or two. And it's all from the Inflation Reduction Act that Joe Biden is touting of the savior of the world, Mr. Joe Biden, the savior of the world for this country, that he's going to make sure that everybody here is going to be happier than happy can be, right? Joe Biden. Oh my God. Is anybody, is this, is anybody really understand what we just witnessed? I don't think people do. I really don't. So think this through. Let's just say that you have $1 million and I have $1 million. And I know a buddy that's going to start a business. And he needs your million, he's my million. Okay? And then he's got buddies that got millions as well. And so, for the heck of it, we all put a bunch of money into this guy's business model. That he's going to take all our monies and he's going to invest in our monies into the markets. And then he's going to create opportunity where we're going to be involved in his company being a public company where we get stock options. And we're going to see after we put our $1 million into this guy's business model that now we're worth $2 million. And then as time goes on and people learn that, hey, there's this business where you can put $1 million in it and it's pretty new and the stock is really cheap, really low. And this guy's taking all this money and he's putting it in the market and he's investing it and apparently making money. And so then over time, as you make money because this guy's invested your $1 million into the markets, and you see that, well, you continue to give him money, and then you give him bigger money because now the stock of this guy's business model that he made went from, let's just say, a $20 IPO, and now it's a $300 IPO over like the last 10 years or something, right? It's a $300 stock, I should say. So the stock has gone through the roof. So for us and my buddies and your buddies, we've all now put millions and millions, and we're still shoveling the millions in because the more millions we shovel in, we're seeing how this guy's taking these monies and he's investing them everywhere. And not only is he getting investments that we follow him with on the stocks that he picks, and he's making tons of money, we're using that money that we're giving him to do the same thing he's doing. And then people are getting to be known more and more about this guy doing all this stuff. And we're all making a ton of freaking money. And then all of a sudden, we all feel like we need to keep the money with this guy because he just keeps on having incredible success. Yeah, this guy's name is Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah, that's the guy's name. Yeah, I mean, this is what's happened. A guy named Silicon Valley Bank took everybody's money, and all these people made tons of money with this guy that owned Silicon Valley Bank, and we just consider let the guy have our money because he made us a ton of money. But then one day we come to find out that the money he's told us he's making isn't really happening. So even though we've made our millions, over the last 10 years off this guy named Silicon Valley Bank, this guy, the rumor is all the monies have dried up that he's been investing in, and the monies actually are now worth less than we gave him. So now we're all freaking out, and we want to get our money out because we had our day with him, and we went out now. Yeah. Oh, but wait a second. Guess what, man? You made millions and millions of dollars off this guy's, business model. And on Friday, you were in tears that you lost a lot of your money. And all that investments you made, you made tons of money and you still have money, but now you're seeing the monies that are tied up in this guy that you had faith in have possibly kind of evaporated. Well, no, Monday morning you were told all that money invested in this guy, you're getting it all back with no risk. Wow. You mean, you're telling me you can start a business and you can go risk your own monies and you can make money off your business for years and years and years, and then markets change and things change and turmoil changes, and you won't go, and you're on dire straits of going broke, but then you get a phone call from a guy named Joe Biden who says, hey, Ice Age man, all that money you spent and did all this and that, it's okay. It's all right. Because I'm going to write you a check today for everything you spent in your business and all expenses related to it. and I'm just going to write you a check, man, and you're good to go. I mean, this is what we just witnessed. I mean, I sincerely, even explaining that, I'll be amazed if anybody watches my channel that they'd even really still be kind of like, well, I don't know. Are you kidding me? This is beyond unbelievable. SV Bank was just a whole intermingle of individuals that know one another, and they all wrote off of this bank investing into different markets, and these people made money off all this stuff. That's why the bank deposits grew like crazy. The bank deposits went from 64 billion to 162 billion or 126 billion. It's like the deposits doubled since the pandemic came in, because people were being told, put your money in that bank because it's going to give them money for the stocks that you're invested in, to put more money in those stocks to make the stocks worth more money. Hello. Is anybody listening to this stuff? Put your stock money in the technology sector. How often did you hear that the last 3 years? Put your money in the green agenda stocks. Put your money in Pfizer. Put them in drug companies, in medical. Hello. What was SVB doing, right? Oh, my gosh. So everybody's riding off that high, that bank, because in fact, a bank only keeps 10% of the monies that it's given to on hand for the cash flow. All that other money's put in the markets to make money for the bank and its investors. And if you're in with the SVB, you're going to know where to be putting your money with that money you gave him to make stocks worth even more. Hello. But yep, when it all failed, that business model failed, Joe Biden in this governing body said, we know you guys all made a ton of money, and we know the markets all went sour, while the other average person that had stocks invested and lost their wealth and stuff like that, that's not going to happen to you. We're going to give you back all your money that you invested, and so, you didn't lose any money. You actually made more money than anybody's ever made their whole life. I mean, just wow. Wow, this is acceptable. I don't know. It's a Ponzi scheme. Isn't that kind of like a Ponzi scheme? No, wait a second. It's not a Ponzi scheme because everybody got their money back. But in some ways, it was a Ponzi scheme, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, is this beyond believable where we are? It's too good to fail. So that's the word. And so now the word on the street is J.P. Morgan Chase Bank is seeing record deposits. Bank of America is seeing record deposits. So all the big banks now are reaping the rewards from all these, from all the SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, people's deposits. They're just transferring all their monies now. These other bigger banks that will never fail. Don't invest money into a little bank because they won't be protected. And now this is classic. Now they're trying to pass a bill that's being spoken about that the $250,000, federal deposit insurance guarantee of your money in a bank needs to be raised to whatever amount of money you put in the bank. So if you put, $1 million the bank has to guarantee you that they will give you your $1 million back when they go broke. Yeah, do you believe that one? Yeah, how's that going to play out? I mean, sincerely, right? So this morning I'm already seeing all the banks. All the banks are up. Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan, they're all up because they're all getting all this. Now the government just transferred all the cash flow to their bank accounts so they can now take that money and go play in the markets. Hey, I wonder if this has anything to do with the whole agenda of transforming this country. Has anybody been listening to my conversations? Transform, generative pre-trained transformer, transform. Do you understand that we have the governing bodies transforming society more than ever? And just at the same time, by coincidence, there's a AI chat GPT that's helping you transform to understand things. Wow. And what are people telling artificial intelligence? I mean, sincerely, what is a person doing 24/7 talking to their computer and trying to train it to be a devious, mean thing that wants to terminate people, right? Boy, I tell you what, if you watch the Ukraine thing, talk about wow. Wow. The wow factor of, it's just still befuddling. And we're in a war. I mean, you just think, wow. The people elected Joe Biden. I mean, sincerely. I mean, I guess. I mean, here's the thing: as an individual, I'm not here to say that if Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis or some other political person who's in power in this country is the savior of this country. I'm not radiating that. I don't want to radiate that. What I want to say is, do you really think this guy in charge right now is in charge? Do you really think this guy's policies that he supports and pushes on to others is really helping us? I mean, really? That the banks are too big to fail now? So there's just no monetary value to the reality of the little guy anymore. It's the little guy, right? The little guy. What's going to happen to the little guy? The little guy's just being run out of town is the reality. Is that what they want? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just interesting, very interesting times. So anyways, there's the big wow factor for me. I explained my wow car things and anything. Just curious. What are others, how are other people taking this? I mean, sincerely, do you think this is fair that people get to make tons of money? The rich get richer. I mean, does anybody really follow this? That the rich are getting richer than all get out. The rich are getting richer and richer, But they won't look at you, man. Yeah, right. I ain't no rich guy. I'm just an idiot that buys cars all the time and signs another car payment. Yeah, that's all I am. Yeah. If I would stop buying cars and I got rid of all my cars, would I be a rich guy? Yeah, I wouldn't be something like, over the top. Would I be okay? Yeah, I mean, today's society, you're telling me, in my area, this is no lie. This D.C. area, if you make $200,000 a year, whip-de-doo-dah. You make $500,000 a year, whip-de-doo-dah. Whip-de-doo-dah. You're nothing. You're nothing. Even $1 million a year income around here, okay, yeah, you'd kind of be above a lot. But to think that you're Mr. Special because you make $1 million a year, not in this area. No way. There's so many defense contractors around here that make so much freaking money. It's been unbelievable. It's been unbelievable. It's all. Hello, the war. Hello, ammunition. Does everybody forget when these guys are out in the field, they have to have ammo to shoot each other and kill each other? Well, who's providing that? Who's providing all the military gear and the technology? Wow. Defense. What's a defense contractor? Do you know what that is? Yeah, that's a company that supports wars. So, in so many aspects, is this country, are these local defense contractors making a ton of money right now? I have no idea. I'm not in that industry, that side of the field. What's the military guy say? What's his thoughts? I mean, sincerely, I'd be so interested to hear the military person that watches my channel say, look, this is just the bottom line. Ukraine is smoke and mirrors. It's just a money laundering machine for the defense contractors, for the wealthy of the world, sacrificing our lives. Or, no. This is a real war that Ukraine doesn't want Russia in their own territory. Russia wants to be the old, Russia bloc, having control of the whole, country. They want back what they lost. And they want the minerals and the commodities from that area, and they want to control that area. That's really what's going on. Period. That's the end of the story. Russia wants back their territory, and the Ukrainians don't want to live under the Russia rule. Okay, end of story. But it seems like it's deeper than that to me. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching my channel, and appreciate the support and the great comments. And what are we doing next? I don't know. Today's just a lousy day to be out and about. Probably do a lot of paperwork. Try to do more indoor things, but I don't know. I'm the one-man show right now, so I'm at the mercy of whatever's going on in my business, and I have to maintain and take care of. But the kid's out there being proactive, helping me out a lot, so that's pretty cool. So once again, thanks, everybody. Watch my channel. God bless. Stay safe.